Hi everyone, it's Andrew, the Urban Bayman. You might notice this ship coming over my shoulder. I believe it's called the Terry Fox. It's a Coast Guard vessel. And as you can still see in the screen, it is letting off an awful pile of I would even go to the extreme of calling it effluent, but the emissions, can you imagine this? This is the Canadian Coast Guard. All right, now, Canada recently gave a pile of money to clean up the supply vessels. The supply vessels that are going back and forth to the offshore oil reserves that we have off the coast of Newfoundland. The ships are going back and forth continuously. And I watch them every day. Right? You never ever see any kind of smoke. You might see a little heat wave. Like, these are ships that are already in great repair and seem to be working well. Instead of focusing, it's a great environmental lesson here, climate change lesson here, right? Because instead of focusing on the groups that are already doing their part, because we know why they're doing their part, they have wealth, right? And we focus on the groups that have this wealth in order to generate funding, to generate resources. And yet at the same time, what we should really be looking at is this ship behind us. And the lesson that I'm thinking, and what I wanted to share with you this evening when I watched this ship coming out, because I've seen this back and forth on a number of occasions, right? Even to the extreme, a while ago, I saw one of the supply vessels go out out on the horizon and let off a great big plume of smoke. I have a good friend in the industry, and I called him up and I asked him what it was all about, because I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe the oil industry are just playing dirty politics and they're going offshore before they blow the smoke out of their stacks. But it was explained to me that no, they were going through a safety procedure. They shut down basically all the power on the boat, and they have to restart the engines very quickly. And in order to do that, I guess what I would liken it to is an oldie land snowmobile. And I don't know if you remember the oldie land snowmobiles, but in the spring of the year, you take the cylinder out, you take the spark plug off the top, you throw down a cup of gas, and you flick it over a couple of times, and it would create the engine would start moving. It would create the flow of gasoline through the carburetor, and everything was good. Well, it's similar to what's going on here, and it's certainly what they were practicing that day offshore. The lesson that I wanted to talk about is based on the fact that instead of focusing on those industries, on those groups, on those countries that are already doing their part when it comes to our environment. Guys, we live in a really, really, really clean place. It's clean, it's green, it's unbelievable. I say it's the cleanest, greenest place on the planet. Most of North America, right? Most of our world is very clean, right? And look, I admire the strides that we've taken when we talk about LA, right? There are places where, yes, we need to reduce emissions or need to make every effort to reduce emissions. Because the real focus is on those countries whose sky is black, right? A friend of mine woke in his hotel room, looked up in the sky and saw this red dot in the sky, right? I'm not going to talk about countries, I'm not going to name any names, right? I don't want to cause any trouble. I'm just making some observations. He saw a red dot in the sky and he stared at it. And he couldn't understand it. He knew the geography quite well, and despite the fact that he had come in the dark, right? There was nothing in this city that could have stood that high, not even with the tower on top. And he was looking at it, staring at it, and all of a sudden he realized he was staring at the sun, right? The smoke, the pollution, right? If there's anything, right, we should be looking at it, right? Instead of focusing on climate change, we should really be looking at localized environments, right? Because the climate is changing all the time. And unfortunately, when we create such elusive goals, it allows us to, well, in many ways, we're destroying our environment in the name of climate change. Right? Imagine in St. John's, right here where I am, St. John's, Newfoundland, there's a landfill here. It's a dump, right? Robin Hood Bay. And we truck all of the garbage all the way from Clarenville in, right? 200 kilometers, you can say, right? Almost close on, right? We truck that into this landfill in the name of climate change, right? The tires that they offered to burn as a supplement to the Bunker C at the Kruger Mill in Corner Brook, right? We booed that down. We send those tires now, we wash them, right? We truck them. We pay a cement manufacturer to take them. They put them in a zero emission incinerator and they make electricity with it, right? We need to start thinking differently, and we really need to start caring about our environment, our immediate environment, and not just ours, of course, right? Because this is an international issue. There's no denying it. right? And as a result, together collectively, maybe if we just focused on those areas, and when I say focus, I'm not talking about accusations and finger pointing, right? How about we go in and we actually provide them with the means, with the resources, with the technology, right? With the manpower, right? With all of the capabilities that we have in this beautiful world that we live in. Why can't we share that? Some thoughts from the Urban Bayman. I hope you subscribe to our channel, and I look forward to seeing your comments and making more videos. Thanks, guys.